If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe and leave a comment down below. And also check out our partners, Nerds in the Hood, down in the description. And I hope to see you later on. Peace out. Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to another alternative factuals video. I'm gonna rush over it real quick. Be sure to check the links in the description down below for our social media accounts: Instagram, Discord, Facebook, all that good stuff. And without further ado, let's kind of jump right into what we're going to be talking about. So Black Lightning, of course, is going to be released next week Tuesday, along with the Flash and the whole relaunch. I wouldn't say relaunch, but continuation of the DC Arrowverse, or whatever you want to call it. Now, we've received some information regarding Black Lightning Season 2 that they're going to be adding a few new characters to Season 2, and we're going to kind of dissect their purpose, at least what they're potentially going to be doing for Season 2 going forward for Black Lightning, and how they're going to affect the main characters like Jefferson Pierce and his daughters and all that good stuff. So let's kind of break down these characters. So in Black Lightning Season 2, like I said, with the success of Season 1, there's Black Lightning being the first black superhero to kind of star in his own comic book, and that's kind of what makes him really popular nowadays due to the political nature of what's going on today in this day and age and all that good stuff. It was actually a perfect timing in terms of bringing that show to light. But I've said in other videos that I feel like they're going to take a lot of inspiration, obviously, from his origin story of Black Lightning Year 1 and all that good stuff, but also it's very apparent and clear based on some of the casting that they're doing for Season 2 that they're going to be taking a lot of information from Justice League and the Outsiders and stuff like that. Now, for those of you who don't know who the Outsiders are, the Outsiders is a team, well, technically a subdivision of the Justice League, so to speak, in which Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, as well as his daughter Anissa actually were a part of. So basically they were Batman's go-to team in terms of when they needed to get things done. They were the people he called. And even in DC Rebirth, Batman actually recently referenced the Outsiders, and there's going to be a kind of get together of that team once again with minor differences. But for Season 2 of Black Lightning that's going to be coming on the CW, we actually have a few new characters, and one of them is Dr. Jace. Now, Dr. Jace, the casting call for Dr. Jace, of course, it was like a 40-something Caucasian woman who was incredibly smart and works as a computation chemist. And the heroes will have to make sure that they watch out for this highly manipulative baddie, or who they may call a sociopath. This chemist is possibly focusing more on the ends as opposed to the means. So more or less, I feel like she's one of those characters where she's going to be more kind of working with Tobias, kind of with that whole green light situation. Now, don't get me wrong, in the comic books, her character was more built around the fact that she gave powers to a hero named Geoforce, and also granted similar powers to his adopted sister, Tara Markov. But like I said, that's kind of like the who became the Teen Titan Terra. But I'm not going to get into all that, because obviously they're going to make changes to the character to kind of make her a little bit more accommodating for Black Lightning Season 2. But what can we expect for someone who is a highly manipulative computational chemist? Is someone who is very good at giving people supernatural powers. So basically whatever, well, to some degree, whatever you got in the comic books in the Outsiders that took place way back when in 1988, I believe, actually. That's when the Outsiders, at least this particular issue that had to do with Dr. Jace, came out. And if I'm wrong, please correct me down in the comments down below. But I do feel like they're going to use her abilities to kind of help move forward with this whole green light situation, because remember, Tobias has access to those chemicals and all that stuff now officially, since he is kind of the only person on the chessboard as of right now that we actually know about. But there's going to be a lot more people kind of gaining powers throughout the course of the second season, and it's kind of going to give the team, and when I mean the team, I mean Black Lightning, his daughters, and his wife Lynn, a little bit more to combat this season and kind of deal with as they go out through the course and kind of discover more about themselves as well. Now, on to the next one. This one is I'm more interested in this one because it seems like Black Lightning, or whoever's writing the show or directing or producing, whatever you want to call it, has a very interesting thing for living single characters. Because remember, Tobias's father was actually played by the person who was actually casted in the Living Single series that took place in 1993 1998 with Queen Latifah, Kim Fields, Erica Alexander, who is actually going to be playing the brand new character, which I'm going to get to in a second. But remember, Tobias's father was actually played by Terrence Carson, who played Kyle, of course, in Living Single. And for those of you who don't know what Living Single is, it was actually this show. Now remember, I said I was going to get back to Erica Alexander, who played Maxine in Living Single, but she actually has been casted to play a character called Perenna. Like I said, they left her ethnicity a little open for the casting role, but they aimed it somewhere between someone in their 40s and 50s, and she's actually a therapist who happens to be a metahuman with telepathic powers. And like I said, this story kind of revolves around her heavily and Jennifer Pierce. So remember, Jennifer Pierce is kind of dealing with this whole revelation that she has abilities a lot similar to her father, and dealing with the fact that her sister has been out fighting crime with her father as well. Even though I felt like that was relatively obvious, they have the similar build and all that stuff with the costume, so I felt like she should have figured that out a little sooner, but whatever. They both have powers, and they're both physically and emotionally kind of all over the place in terms of, them coming to terms with their powers, but she doesn't let any of her feelings or the situation scare her off, except for the fact that she might be a very powerful player in season 2. So it's a little I don't know about this one, but she also was a villain in the Adventures of the Outsiders, which is, like I said, the team that Batman would actually go to when he needed to get things done, a subdivision of the Justice League, so to speak. Now, like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into the comic book aspect of her, because remember, they're going to change a lot about her. First of all, in the comic book, she was a Caucasian woman, so that's pretty much why I'm pretty sure they left the race or ethnicity option pretty open for the casting. But she was a bank teller until she discovered that she was a descendant from a race of subterranean beings, and she gained these abilities of telepathy and telekinesis, and she became more conventionally attractive, but of course that's comic books, because they wanted to draw more young boys in, and what's the best ways to do so? Make very attractive women. But of course, yes. So yes, her powers were kind of like, telepathy, basically Jean Grey sort of but to a lesser degree. Then later on she became like a vampire apparently, and then she kind of died in Infinite Crisis, but she actually was alive, so retconning, whatever. But the biggest difference between her is their age. Like I said, in the series she's meant to be a little older compared to in the comic books, where she's just a little younger. I think more like in her late 20s, early 30s from my understanding. But what makes her interesting is she has telepathic abilities and the effect she's going to have on Jennifer. Now remember, Jennifer is in an emotionally kind of unstable place right now in her life, simply because she is still coming to terms with all of her powers. And her powers can be a little overwhelming for someone who is her age, who as a teenager, she wants to fit in, she wants to be a part of the crowd, she wants to have a normal life. But the second that she even found out that her father is Black Lightning, that went out the window. Her sister was helping her, that went even further out the window. And as soon as she got powers, yes, she's no longer even capable of having any sort of semblance of a regular life. So remember that. So having a telepath with someone who is already emotionally and mentally kind of falling apart is going to pose a serious problem for, the characters this season, because now she's going to be in this really weird place and dealing with a lot of these crossroads, because someone can potentially be manipulating her. Now, another character that they introduced, like I said, this is an obscure character, and I really don't know much about him myself. All these characters relatively obscure. I think all of them I've seen maybe like once or twice. They've actually probably even just appeared maybe like once or twice, give or take, maximum 5 times or something like that, whatever. They're not really well known, which is why I think they're kind of pulling these characters, because they're a lot easier to kind of change their origins or manipulate them, so that way their plot devices and powers kind of work in tandem with the story that they're trying to tell, because there's not really much information about them. But there's a character called Slovak, and he was a Caucasian man in his 30s, and he will be teaming up with the bad Tobias Whale. So we already know that obviously Tobias Whale is going to have some people in the background who's going to be assisting him, helping him kind of take out Black Lightning, because obviously he knows he is still alive. But he isn't afraid to get violent. He is very big on payback. He's low-key, well, not even low-key, high-key petty, and he was born in Europe somewhere. I don't know, but he has a lot of interesting skill sets, money laundering. He's very slick with businesses and whatever like that, but whatever. But also, like I said, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do when it comes to Slovak. I just personally don't think, I think they'll make a character with a name, but they're not really going to take so much inspiration from the core concept of his character that was kind of given in comic books. Like I said, I don't really remember what issue he came from in terms of the Outsiders, but he was definitely something that was a pretty decent deal, at least during that particular story that was told. And if I can find that issue, I will definitely give you the information down in the description down below with links, and maybe you can find the comic book or whatever like that. Or if you know the issue yourself, you can just put in the comments and let me know.
because like I said, I'm trying to just kind of figure out, and like I said, not all of these characters I heard of, because I'm not an omnipotent or omniscient being, so I don't know everything. Now here's the final one. We have someone called Major Laurie. He's like a male. This is the casting call. So he's a male of any ethnicity between the age of 35 to 50. He's a big deal for one simple reason, which is that he is the new principal of Garfield High School. This smart and brave individual isn't going to have any problem with taking over for Jefferson. Like I said, this kind of information kind of makes it seem like obviously we're going to be dealing with some issues where like Jefferson might either lose his position as principal, because remember, he on more than one occasion he actually overstepped the board and the board for that school that he's running, and they might seek to either replace him, or it could be the work of the previous vice principal who was actually working with the organization that helped introduce Greenlight into the Garfield community and all that stuff. But that's really up to them what they decide to do. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know if I missed anything or anyone for casting call or anything like that for season 2, and let me know what you think is going to be happening for a lot of these characters and what you think they'll do with their powers. And if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and don't forget to ring that bell. I always want to hear what you're thinking, and I hope to see you later on. Peace out.